billed as Africa's first sovereign AI factory, announced on September 10th of this year. It's a hyperscale renewable powered computing hub embedded inside the 600 megawatt Karuma Hydropower Plant in the Nile River. And look, this is not a side project. It's a $1.2 billion project. That's over 4 trillion in Ugandan shillings, spanning over 80 acres, designed to keep Africa's data and AI dreams on home soil. So here's a full scope of what is currently available. Hello and welcome to Stellar Insight. I'm Ezra, a medical student and your host. Today, we'll be digging deep into the big questions at the intersection of technology and tomorrow. And in this episode, why is everybody building data and AI factories? We'll break down what these massive tech hubs really are, spotlight the global race from giants like OpenAI, XAI, to groundbreaking projects under construction, and definitely zoom in on Uganda's game-changing Aeonian Project, Africa's first AI factory set to launch at the Karuma Hydropower Plant. It's poised to redefine digital sovereignty for Uganda and the continent at large. Before I get into the headlines, I'll level set. What exactly is an AI factory? It's not like a sci-fi assembly pumping out robots, though that would make a cool sequel. You know what I mean? An AI factory is a specialized, purpose-built computing infrastructure designed to manage the entire life cycle of artificial intelligence. It's more like a high-tech engine room. It ingests massive amounts of data, trains AI models on supercomputers packed with GPUs, fine-tunes them for specific tasks, and deploys them at scale for real-world use. The purpose is to industrialize AI production by turning raw data into actionable insights faster and more efficient than ever. In our world today, where we're drowning in data, trillions of gigabytes being generated daily, AI factories help optimize the process, cutting costs and time, while handling the insane energy and compute demands of modern AI. NVIDIA is a key player in this space, and it calls it a way to create value from data by streamlining everything from cloud storage to interface. And this here is best illustrated when AI makes decisions in real time. Without them, building something like ChatGPT would take years and billions more. They are literally the backbone of the AI boom we are seeing today, powering everything from drug discovery to climate modeling. But these are power-hungry machines. Some consume gigawatts. Power enough to light small cities. That's why location, energy, and cooling systems are like a make or break. They're essential, you must have them. Now, why is everybody racing to build them? If you had not yet noticed, AI is the new oil. Companies and countries see them as engines for economic growth, innovation, and a competitive edge, with AI being projected to add an extra $15.7 trillion to the global economy by 2030. Factories are not optional, they are essential. But they raise big questions, of course. Who controls the data and who benefits? We'll circle back on this a little later. Tech titans are pouring trillions into AI factories to stay ahead in the arms race for smarter and faster AI. Let's look at the big players. Existing heavyweights obviously set the bar. Microsoft's Azure AI supercomputers in Iowa is one of the largest operational systems today, packing over 10,000 NVIDIA GPUs and supports OpenAI's models. It's a beast for training large language models, but it's dwarfed by what's coming. Under construction, that's where the fireworks really is. XAI, Elon's venture, just unveiled Colossus 2 in Memphis, Tennessee, the world's first gigawatt-scale data center, built from scratch in just 120 days. That's well under 5 months. It boasts around 200,000 NVIDIA H100 GPUs, making it the largest AI training cluster ever. It's designed for the Grok models, consuming massive power but optimized for efficiency. Musk calls it a step towards understanding the universe, but critics worry about its environmental impact. Then there is OpenAI's Stargate, a $500 billion mega project in Texas, announced earlier this year. It's a phased project, with phase 1 alone potentially housing millions of GPUs, powered by a mix of renewable and nuclear, aiming to train the next generation of models like GPT-5. Sam Altman, OpenAI's CEO, described it during a site visit as the historic bet on AI's future, emphasizing its role in democratizing compute, with OpenAI currently being valued at $324 billion. Of course, other notable mentions include Anthropic's $178 billion cluster in the US and Meta's plans for 600,000 GPUs across multiple sites globally. China's Baidu and Huawei are scaling hyperscalers, while Europe lags but invests in green alternatives. So basically, this is the trend. Hyperscale facilities, roughly above 100 megawatts, focus on renewable power and sovereign control to avoid the US-China tension. By 2030, experts predict 20 plus gigawatt scale factories worldwide, driving AI's $1 trillion impact. But here is the twist. Africa is joining the race, and Uganda is leading the charge. If the global race is a marathon, Uganda is sprinting to the front with the Aeonian Project, billed as Africa's first sovereign AI factory, announced on September 10th of this year. It's a hyperscale renewable powered computing hub embedded inside the 600 megawatt Karuma Hydropower Plant in the Nile River. And look, this is not a side project. It's a $1.2 billion project. That's over 4 trillion in Ugandan shillings, spanning over 80 acres, designed to keep Africa's data and AI dreams on home soil. So here's a full scope of what is currently available. It's being led by Synetics Technologies, and it partners with heavyweights like NVIDIA for the GPU tech, Schneider Electrics for smart energy and cooling, Turner and Townside for real estate, plus MDCS.ai and Belgium's Automation NV, backed by Germany's GIZ, Finland's House, and the EU Development Fund. So this is the current timeline. The first phase rolls out mid-2026 with a 10 megawatt USIO supercomputer on NVIDIA's Blackwell platform, scaling to full 100 megawatt capacity by 2028 under a build, operate, transfer model. And I think this right here is one of the most genius parts of the project. The whole thing is just built to last, using a modular design for easy upgrades, 100% renewable hydro power from Karuma's surplus, natural Nile cooling, heat reuse systems for zero net ops, and a 2,500 kilometer fiber optic backbone linking Uganda to subsea cables via Kenya and Tanzania for low latency access globally. It will host AI centers of excellence for R&D in medicine, agriculture, and climate science, processing local data to build African-centric models. Think of AI for Kiswahili diagnostics or drought prediction. Is it truly Africa's first? Opponents say yes for sovereign AI factories, though rivals like the Cassava Technologies project Mufungi, which is also NVIDIA-backed, starting in South Africa, claim similar honors. What sets Onion apart is the fact that it is green, sovereign-focused, and addressing Africa's dire stats, like how 98% of continental data is processed abroad, despite a population of 1.4 billion and an expanding mobile usage. Synetics CEO Olandele Oyakunel said, at least 30 African countries, including Kenya and Nigeria, have enacted data privacy regulations requiring more data to be processed locally. Science is precise, whether Kenya, Uganda, or China. For Africa, this is indeed our time, not just to consume technology, but to define our own digital future. Schneider Electronics East African president, Ifeanyi Oda, added, "It's not that we don't have the data. The basic infrastructure like fiber and power has just not been available at scale. By combining new energy with intelligent cooling and modular data center technologies, we are helping build a future where African data is processed sustainably, securely, and locally." Tana and Townside's Wendy Sereti also noted that this project shows that we can deliver world-class facilities here with predictability, clarity, and impact. President Museveni hasn't directly quoted on the project yet, but he has championed artificial intelligence broadly. Like in April, at the International Education Day, he urged Ugandans to embrace AI as not magic, but science and a tool for national transformation. The First Lady and Education Minister Janet Museveni echoed this in May, telling graduates that AI and science should guide our choices going forward. This is a really good and promising status for Uganda, with thousands of jobs created, skills training, and e-governance, potentially adding billions to the GDP via AI in fintech and health. Nationally, it cuts data export costs and risks, fostering local innovation. Continent-wide, it's an opportunity for Africa to also take a share on the projected $15.7 trillion cake by 2030. And it's green too, modeling sustainable AI amid climate wars. Orion could spark an African AI renaissance. Welcome to A Stellar Perspective, where we reflect on today's topic through the lens of faith. There's a thick cloud of recent around the discussion concerning AI and its ethics, with it having passed the Turing test this very year. And the Turing test is simply a test that was proposed by one Alan Turing, and he suggested that if an AI could convince you that it is a human being, or if a computer could get to that level for which it could convince you that it is sentient and a human being with the ability to understand emotion and what you feel, or assume like it experiences the things you're experiencing, then it has passed that test. And without a doubt, the things ChatGPT alone is doing of recent are really astounding. If you think of the fact that today it can read emotions from people's voice, and it can notice that the person is, like the user is frustrated or angry, or just by understanding the things you speak, it's obviously not having the feelings, but it is well capable enough to convince someone that it is alive. I would ask you this way: try getting into a conversation with ChatGPT and tell it to convince you that it is human. You might most likely believe whatever it will use. That is how good it has gotten. So then, have you already created a soul? Because when you think of what this means, we would ideally think that what makes us human is the soul that we carry in us, that thing that just can't be described but adds an extra tone to what it means to be human. And if AI can perfectly reproduce that, does it make it a soul just waiting for a body? What is going to be the future? What is going to be the future 100 years from now with these things being made? Tesla is focusing more on building humanoid robots. So if they are made and such systems are loaded into them, where will we draw the line on what deserves all the privileges of being human and what doesn't? And then if they also get to a point where they assume to give reverence to their creator, who do they offer it to? Is it to us or to the one that commanded us to procreate? Are they part of the assignment we were given to procreate? I think these are important questions, and this is something that we can take some time and all think about. I'd love to hear your thought on this down in the comment section, or you can just make a post with the hashtag #StellarInsight and we'll be in touch. And back to Stellar Insight, I have come across some questions that people have been asking across the internet on different social media platforms. and someone was wondering the take of Ugandans on this project. What are its advantages and potential downsides? The advantages are obvious. Of course, thousands of jobs are going to be created, and for those that don't have the skills to receive them and, transform their own lives. But there's also the downside, that fear that has constantly been around artificial intelligence, the displacement from jobs. And to some extent, I would say that is more of a choice, because currently knowledge is everywhere. You can ingest knowledge from very many sources. So I think it's our opportunity to prepare ourselves and position ourselves into the changing world. There's also another question that has been going around on the position of Africa when it comes to artificial intelligence. And I think this Ugandan project is a good illustration of our position. And in my heart, I feel it screams, we are ready. But not only being ready, but we are ready to even pioneer something new. Because I think it's only China that has tried to reproduce something like that, where they just sunk these supercomputers underwater with such a brilliant mechanism of cooling. And what is going to be done at the Karuma Falls is just amazing. I think we're going to pioneer something, because if there is a net zero carbon emission from that place, or even just close to that, I think that is transformative for Africa. Yeah, this could be a template for even the already existing big systems to learn, like to just pick a leaf and, observe what's going on. So there's of course concern on the timeline. Is it really realistic? I would partly think it is, but that is more dependent on the commitment of the individuals handling such a project. Because as we can see, XAI's project was just accomplished in 122 days. That is under 5 months. Even a fraction of that could, of course, mean a lot. Yes, of course, there's a few constraints here and there, but I mean, it cannot, fine, even if the timeline went off by a few, I don't think it would be as drastic as 5 years, or, because these are not, they're very complex systems to run, but establishment, I don't think it's one of the biggest concern. Because this is a race, NVIDIA's GPUs are really, really on high demand globally. So we just hope for the best, but I have a strong feeling this cannot fail. Yeah, if the commitment is indeed there. So as I wrap up this, I challenge you this week to explore Uganda's digital scene, or just to discuss with a friend on the Aeonian Project. And finally, is Uganda set to be the next global AI giant with such a move? Share with the hashtag #StellaInsight. I'd love to hear your takes on this. And as we build factories, remember, tech illuminates but wisdom guides. Thank you for tuning into a Stellar Insight. If this sparked ideas, subscribe and share, and join in next time. And until then, keep innovating, keep reflecting, and keep shining bright. Thank you.